Disclaimer, I will not be discussing Pop or any of the dramas she has been a part of. This is solely about the writing of the show and the character. Do not go and harass people. That's my job. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Let's all have a passionate and fair discussion. Nothing below the belt. We all know about the pitiful, depressed, pill-addicted, neglectful father, also known as the 9-foot demon bird, Stolas. Yep, I came out swinging. Now, before you go to the comments freaking out, I do like this character's concept. When I talk about character concept, I'm talking about the ideas and the vision behind them. Many viewers who clicked on this video already know about Helluva Boss. You may have clicked on this video because you want validation. Let's face it, you've probably seen a lot of videos similar to this one, or you already disagree and you want to defend your side. All sides are valid. Let us just remind ourselves that everybody here is passionate about this show, and this isn't a personal attack on anybody's person. If you like the bird, great. If you hate the bird, fine. Let us get back to Stolas. For those who don't know too much about Stolas, he is a goetic demon, also known as a Guisha. From my understanding, his main job is to study the stars that are from Earth, try and learn about any prophecies, do a few rituals for the imp as shown in the, the Harvest Moon Festival, and command legions, even though we don't have a lot of information on that. That is my understanding, which is why he needs the Grimoire once a month. But I use the word need loosely. I'll get back to this. Remember the word need. This is where we get into spoiler territory from here on out, so if you have not watched this show already, please go watch it, because I don't want to hear, oh, there's spoilers. I just told you that there are from here on out. Stolas was forced into an arranged marriage with Stella to create a my English just went out the window. Precautionary heir, later named Octavia, their daughter. And it is clear that he does not want this, and if I saw that photo too, I might cry myself. This heir is in case something happens to Stolas, so Octavia can fulfill his duties. If you notice something, his whole life has been planned out for him. His job, who he marries, children. His whole life has been planned out for him and is expected to go through all of this with a smile. I think that would make anybody depressed. Some people might thrive in that environment, but for a gay bird who just wants to be with their lover, not so much. I bring this up because I wish to explain his behavior, the sheltered life, and the actions leading up. He has never had a say in his own life. I don't believe anybody is faulting him for this marriage. I mean, Octavia is 17. He's 36, and if you do the math, that means he was about 19 when he had her, and married at 18. I don't expect an 18-year-old to stand up to his royal family and his father, who made it clear what is going to happen. Do I think Stolas is a poorly written character? Yes. Do I think he had the concept to become a good character? Yes. Had a good concept, but the execution was just terrible. I see the vision, but right now it's blurry. Honestly, with how much screen time Stolas gets, you think he would be a better fleshed out character, but he's not. Seriously, what does he like? Think about it. Besides Blitzo, romance, intimacy, what does he like? And before you say his daughter, no shit, that's her dad. That's a pretty low bar that most people, well, at least I hope most people can reach. I'm seriously sitting at my computer and I'm drawing a blank. It shouldn't be this difficult. And for the people who think of something, congratulations, please share below in the comments. I appreciate any character with flaws, but it has to be a fleshed out character. He has all this lore going on around him, but he feels very flat, socially awkward, and loves intimacy. That's what I immediately think about. Before anybody brings up Blitzo, yes, I agree. Other characters are very important to support other characters, but if a character cannot stand on their own 2 feet without others around, that's a one-dimensional character. What does he like? What does he dislike besides other characters? Quick edit, I did think about something and it was Stolas watching TV. However, every time we see him watching TV, he's very depressed and we only see him watching it twice. Before the dinner date and before Blitzo's execution. I almost completely forgot about those 2 scenes because 2 far more impacting scenes follow up right after the TV scene, making the audience completely forget about it, or at least making me completely forget about it. And that's only one thing I can think of, and he was depressed during that. One thing they could have done for people to remember that Stolas likes TV is in season 2, seeing stars. Quick recap, Octavia went to LA and Stolas had to find her accompanied by Blitzo. LA is a perfect place to show Stolas loves TV. He could point out characters on a poster or or when him and Blitzo got pulled onto a stage set, Blitzo could have said something along the lines of, I don't know what to do, I don't even know the lines. And Stolas could say something like, don't worry, darling, I'm fully caught up on all 10 seasons, then tells him the general plot of the show. A good example of this is Naruto, well, from Naruto. Are the people around him important to the story? Absolutely. That goes for most stories. But if you go up to anyone who has at least seen 5 episodes of Naruto, the 3 things that they would immediately say is loves ramen, wants to become Hokage, and says believe it. With Stolas, he is lacking in this. Let me put you in a scenario. Put everything aside and just tell me how you would feel after this. Let's say you are a troubled student, grades not doing too well, and honestly, you're not learning anything. A test is coming up and you need this grade to pass. You go to your teacher, who's all smiles, and you ask her for help, and she gives you a pretty looking book, and she says this will help you on how to pass the test. You open it and it's nothing. They don't care, because on the outside it's all pretty and bedazzled, but on the inside it's nothing. The words were always going to be empty. Hurts, right? I firmly believe Stolas is not a good father, and I will say he doesn't care. Not at all. I know plenty of folks are spamming the chat disagreeing, but I just truly think he doesn't care. Think about it. What I believe could have improved the show is by showing Stolas and Octavia's relationship before Blitzo. In season 1, Lululand, we are shown Stolas comforting his young daughter. This is when she was a toddler after she wakes up from nightmare. Good start, but we don't get more of this. That's all we get. We need more and we want more. Show Stolas sacrificing things for her even when she wouldn't notice, because the biggest act of love you can do for another person is to do something right by them even when they aren't watching. Stolas takes Octavia to Lululand even though before the trip she made it perfectly clear that she didn't want to go and she doesn't like the place and she's not 5 anymore. But he takes her anyway, not caring about her feelings, and takes the man he cheated on her mom with as security, even though in the same episode it's shown that they don't need security. He only thought about what he wanted that whole time. Only near the end does he figure out that she isn't happy, and he promised her that he will never abandon her for Blitzo. Remember that scenario I said earlier? Empty words. In season 2, The Circus, near the end we see Stolas talking to Stella, claiming he does all these things for Octavia, but we don't see it. At least I don't see it. I don't. It's left up to too much speculation. Some of you are typing, but Stella, no. First off, we don't know the relationship between Stella and Octavia, and from what I've seen, Stella hasn't done anything to her. But she threw stuff at Stolas. Yes, but we only see that after Stella found out he cheated on her. Never before. We can speculate on it. For example, in the same episode, Stella tries to strike Stolas and he catches her wrist. I see what they're going for, but it isn't enough for me. I want and need to see more from this show. And I'm sure anybody would be upset hearing their SO cheated on them. Even in a loveless marriage or not, in their home, anybody would be upset. Not saying her reaction is justified, but it's not unfounded. Let's face it, how many videos have we seen of people getting revenge on their SOs for cheating and we cheered them on? Come on, we're all guilty of it to a certain extent. Okay, let's get back to Stolas since I believe Stella would need her own separate video. Stolas promises Octavia that he would never leave her, and what did he do? Leave her. Season 2, Mastermind. Quick summary, Blitzo is put on trial for using the book to access Earth, stealing the book, and how do I say without YouTube throwing a hissy fit? Non-consensual acts in the bedroom with Stolas being the victim. I know a lot of us just said, but that's not true! He's innocent! It isn't, but it's what Blitzo is on trial for. Very serious crimes. He would be lucky not to get the death sentence. Now, there are several things wrong in this episode, and if you want, I can make a separate video on that, but let's focus solely on Stolas' actions. Blitzo is found guilty by Satan and the rest of the Ars Goetia, and Blitzo was going to have his head chopped off, but Stolas intervened, taking the blame, claiming to be the mastermind, even though that makes 0 sense. If someone can explain that better, please do. I don't understand how that would even work. At this moment, Stolas thought he was 100% going to die. He thought he was going to get executed. He wasn't even going to see anybody else again, including his daughter. At that moment, he not only told his child, but everyone around on live television who his main priority is, Blitzo. But But you said it yourself. If Stolas didn't intervene, Blitzo would have been executed. Yes, he would have. But this man has a daughter to go home to. Are you kidding me? Including the fact that Stolas is in a heavy rocky relationship with Blitzo. And also, he left that relationship on a bad note. And he's going to throw his life away for that? Seriously? That's stupid. And forget him being banished for 100 years. He thought he was going to die. I know there are some Stella haters, so you guys need to think about this. That means he would have left Octavia alone with Stella and his royal duties, meaning she would have to get pregnant and produce a precautionary heir. She would have gotten married. She would have to fulfill all his duties. Who would want to be put in that situation? I know I wouldn't. She is supposed to be his priority, not some side piece you've had a few romps in the bed with. Let's move on to bad lovers. Stolas is not a good lover at all. One could say he has proven his devotion to Blitzo in the trial, but let's start from the very beginning, season 1, Murdered Family. It established Stolas and Blitzo's relationship as a business agreement. Stolas gets his intimacy, Blitzo gets to keep the book except for one day out of the month, so Stolas can do his job. For the younger folks, because I know there's a few preteens probably watching this, that is called sexual coercion. Sounds bad, right? That's because it is. It's really bad. One could say it's one of the worst things you can do to a person. Let me give the definition so there's no argument on what does sexual coercion mean. Sexual coercion refers to the form of non-physical sexual abuse where a person uses pressure, threats, or manipulation to induce another person into engaging in unwanted sexual activity. Some people will try to argue that Blitzo was fine with this arrangement. Now, this might be an agree to disagree situation because personally from what I saw, Blitzo was not okay with this. I'm going to ask you one simple question. If Blitzo was able to keep the book without having to sleep with Stolas, would he have still been with Stolas? I say he wouldn't have been with Stolas. He would get out of there. And his response to Stolas' offer is, fine, whatever. He doesn't sound too happy. To speak plainly, if you do not sleep with me once a month, you don't get the book, meaning Blitzo's whole business wouldn't be a thing. It would go all tumbling down with his earnings. From Blitzo's point of view, that's a threat. That's 100% a threat. There is no justification for that. Just take the book back. No need to go this extra mile. I would have liked to see Stolas more if the show wouldn't have tried to paint him as a victim in his romantic relationship. He is not a victim in this relationship. Is he a victim to the societal pressure from the Arts Goetia? Yes. Does it give him a free pass to be predatory? No! The funny thing is, he is the stereotype the imps believe the Arts Goetia to be. As Stryker said, a disgusting, rich, pompous Goetia. People will say, after Stolas lost his powers, Blitzo still stuck around. Yes, he did, but he had a debt to be repaid, which is Stolas saving his life. I truly don't see this as some type of gotcha moment. Then somebody will point out Blitzo coming back after Stolas, even though he gave him the Asmodean crystal that lets Blitzo access Earth without the book. Very good. But why did he come back? Was it for love? Validation? I can tell you for something, it was not for love. It was trauma and guilt. Later revealed in the season 2 apology tour. I know there are probably things I have missed or glossed over. For example, I didn't talk about the beginning of season 2 Circus and how Blitzo was bought. Yes, bought for the day to hang out with Stolas. I didn't feel like it was important to mention, and Stolas was a child and most likely wasn't aware of the purchase. I don't fault a child for that at all. That's not on him. But it was a good way to show the divide between imps in the Ars Goetia. My main goal was to mainly wrap up the main points of the character Stolas and why I don't like the writing surrounding the character. I believe what pisses me off the most is that they're trying to portray Stolas as the victim in this romance. Like, he isn't. He degraded, insulted, and abused Blitzo. You can look at the compilations. I firmly believe he abused Blitzo with that whole deal. Blitzo is the victim. Now, is Blitzo guilty of a lot of things? Yes. But that doesn't excuse Stolas' actions. This is why I detest apology tour so much. Blaming the victim, and it's just downright shameful. I would have liked Stolas more if it wasn't for the whole lack of acknowledging, oh, am I the bad guy? But the whole story keeps trying to paint him as the victim to Blitzo when it's the other way around. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything you wish for me to talk about, and I will be doing a video on Stella's defense, so if you want to see that, just subscribe if you can, and if you don't, the relationship will never happen. Huh? And we all know that's going to be fun. Who doesn't like a good devil's advocate? And I will be working on more videos as well. Have a great war in the comments. Toodles! Psst. Okay, this is for anybody who actually stuck around to the bitter end. Remember what I said in the very beginning about Stolas needing the grimoire once a month? Does he actually need it to do his work? I bring this up because there was a scene where Blitzo asks if he can't memorize the spells, and Stolas responds with, "Oh, your memory is so great?" He doesn't say no, and he avoids the question, which makes me believe that he can. And if he can, that makes Stolas look even worse. So if anybody could clarify, that would be nice. Also, put a blue bird emoji.